Those who know Giorgio know that, I mean, he's a little shy. There was an Italian warmth to him, but he was a craftsman. I think that's part of what his thing was. He communicated to the world with this work that he did, and the textures and the stitching had to be right. It was details. I know up until this moment where he passed away, he was still changing little things, and this wasn't quite good enough. Could we just do this? That's who he was, and delightful and knowable because of that. He knew who he was. He knew what he wanted. There were specific things that, I would ask for one of his suits because I knew they were perfect for a character. I found myself saying yes to American Gigolo. It was kind of an extreme character. I didn't really know this guy. And Paul Schrader, who wrote and directed it, really wanted this to be a style movie. We had Italians were all over it. It was meant to look like a Bertolucci movie. And Nando Scarfiotti, this incredible production designer, costume designer, was working on it, who had worked with Visconti and Bertolucci. And he brought in Giorgio. I mean, Giorgio was an interesting choice for this because Giorgio is not a unidimensional person or artist. I mean, I think he sees things in many different layers. But in this case, this was like extreme design of that time. There's a scene in American Gigolo where I'm singing this song, Your Love is a Mirage, and I'm picking out clothes and I'm dancing around the room like a little girl, It was like, when we started doing this, hey, Paul, you really want to do this like this? And he said, yeah, go with it. So I started dancing around and singing, picking clothes. And I was like, that was brand new. Guys doing that, caring about this tie goes with that shirt. That shirt goes with this color pants. It seemed to speak to a moment where guys, were interested in that kind of thing. I don't think I even had a suit before I had those clothes. But I think I took some from the set after that. I remember we'd finished shooting that and I had a movie, my first movie was opening at Cannes. I had these Giorgio Armani clothes and I was feeling pretty good about myself at that point, going to Cannes. And he made really beautiful classic suits and beautiful classic sweaters that were just timeless. If I got to wear a tuxedo, it's his tuxedo, of course. I use his suits in many films. Sometimes they're too good for the character, so it wouldn't be Giorgio. I don't know anything about style. I never did, I never will. But I know that his fabrics are beautiful, so you feel comfortable in them, or I do. They're very soft, and he likes those earth tones too, which I like. He and I were a good marriage that way. Finely made, finely crafted, timeless designs. It's kind of bizarre, but I could walk into any of his stores and take a suit off the rack and it would fit me. And so I think it just was an affinity. And personally, we just got along too. It was simple. This last show was the first show of his I'd ever seen. I mean, all the decades I've known him, that was the first show. I was kind of delighted to be there. And Lauren Hutton, who was an old friend, I was happy to see her there, and Kate Blanchett and a lot of other old friends there. The first time I'd been to one of his fashion shows. And it was very moving. Everyone was very soft. And the clothes were very soft. If you've been to his hotel in Milan, you see the extreme version of him, which is quite severe, hard surfaces. It's almost like a bunker. But I think the severity and controlled aspect of his design, it doesn't lend itself to kind of like, well, throw it together. It's meant to be like that. It's controlled, and he needs it to be controlled. And so when something is an Armani thing, whether it's a lamp or it's clothes or whatever it is, it's definitely his thing. He's seen it from 360 degrees. And the use of black was central to what his thing was. I don't think I ever saw him outside of one of his black t-shirts. I wear t-shirts all the time, but they're kind of faded, from, I shouldn't say the Gap or whatever, it's like nothing. He always come up to me and he'd touch the fabric of my t-shirt and then he'd go. He enjoyed playing dress up, basically. When I was a kid, my mother would make costumes for the plays I was in. And I think he was like that. He enjoyed playing, but with the talent and the craft of a craftsman who gets the details right. Very important to him.